Hey, everybody. We are back for an episode where we talk about Friends and not the TV show, although we could.
We could. Yeah, actually we
It's a great show.
could.
But this time we're talking about friends as an adult. How do we make friends as an adult? How do we break up with friends as an adult? How do we make that decision to break up with friends? And all the things about friends.
Yeah, all the things. I feel like this has been on my mind. Friends have been a theme. Like when I did my mom conference, I met a lot of moms who were like, I don't have friends and I don't know what to do about that. And I've thought about that. I feel like friends a lot over the years and the interesting dynamics between friends and how we interact and how much energy we put in and or don't put in and then be like, "Oh, I don't have friends," but you don't put any energy into it,
Right.
And, gosh, that's a big one for me, and it's kind of a trigger for me, and I don't know why because oh, I know why.
What is it?
Because I think that there are a lot of people I wanna be friends with because I like having friends. I love different people. I don't know, there's whenever I meet someone, I'm like, "Oh, I need to know you better."
Mhm.
And then they don't reciprocate that energy or
Yeah.
they're so consumed with their family, which I get, but at the same time I don't. Because I'm like, "Don't you want friends? Don't you, like, wanna spend some time for yourself?" And I don't know, I and maybe it's because my kids are getting older that I feel that freedom, and maybe a lot of those people that I do want to interact with already have their people and are spending their energy somewhere else, but figuring out how much energy you want to spend on a friend and then hopefully reciprocating is a big deal. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about because I kind of want to go into that a little bit more on something I had heard about friends. And I don't know if you let's see if it's true for our audience and for maybe you too, Megan. Like they say that your friend group shifts every 7 years.
And that makes sense because I've heard that we change every 7 years. Our taste buds change every 7 years. So it would make sense in the cycles of life that, I'm not the
Mhm.
same person now that I was 7 years ago. I didn't have kids 7 years ago. So
Yeah.
I'm a totally different person. My priorities are different. My willingness to expend energy on certain things is different. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And also, yes, and proximity. Because
Yeah.
whenever you have a then it's sort of like, oh, you're not in college anymore. You're not seeing everybody at the same time, right? Like,
You're not going to bars to socialize. You're
yeah.
at the park watching your kids play and
Yes.
meeting moms at the park, right? Instead of
And staying
meeting
up late at the club was like, "Oh, hell no. I cannot
Yeah,
do
why
it."
would you ever do that?
Yeah, who does that?
Right, right.
So yeah, like, but not that makes sense because, like, in numerology, we've talked about how you go through a 9-year cycle where
Oh,
you begin something and, like, begin a transition or you're learning about something new, and then for those 9 years, you're kind of going in and out of those things, but still learning about this maybe basic theme, and
mhm,
in that ninth year, you're kinda like, "Am I shedding this? Did I learn this lesson?" And whatever. So, it kinda matches up that 7 to 9 years, and, so that is an interesting one. The other thought I have is I don't know. I could say a lot about Friends, so maybe we should just start with the beginning. Something else.
well, I think
But
no, go for it.
no, no, go ahead.
I think for me, when it comes to friends in this season of my life, it needs to be easy, and I don't wanna say that with
Mm,
easy in that I don't have to do any work because I don't think that that's my college roommate, I've known her since high school. We are still friends. We talk maybe twice a year. But
mm,
whenever we do, or we'll shoot each other a funny text or a funny meme or something. But whenever we talk, it's like, she's got kids, I've got kids. She lives in a different city that's 5 hours away from me, but it's like we never left off. But I don't feel the guilt when I don't talk to her for 6, 9 months,
Mhm.
or when I forget when she calls and I'm right in the middle of the bedtime ritual and I'm like, "Ah, fuck, I can't talk to her right now," and then I forget to call her back. I don't feel this guilt. I hope she doesn't either, but
Well, and it's expectation, right? Like,
right.
you both aren't like, "Oh, I want to commit to you every day and we talk and I need you every day," or whatever it is. Like, you guys both know you have this foundational friendship
Mhm.
and that can continue in this way. Like, let's say you guys moved in next door, then that might shift, right?
Right. Right. I think I think for me, low maintenance friendships are the best. And I talked about this with my friend Anna. She lives 45 minutes away from me, and we like used to run, every Saturday morning together, and then I moved, 45 minutes out. But we talked about, she goes, I don't want a friend that's like, "Hey girl, just checking on you every week." She goes, "I don't want a friend like that. I that annoys me." And I'm like, "Okay." I mean, I'm the same way. And I loved that how, self-aware she was to be like, "Look, if I talk to you once every 6 months, we're best friends," you know?
We're
And
basically besties.
yeah, and I was like, yeah, I really kind of I that really resonated with me because there are certain people that I think I really the majority of the people in my life, I will shoot him a text every now. "Hey, haven't talked to you in about 3 months, just checking on you. We should get together soon," or whatever. And then if it doesn't happen, that's fine, but there's no it really is just want to make sure you're alive, just want to make sure everything's going good. If not, how can I help? What can I do? And that's kind of it.
Okay. So I have this thought about that. Because
Okay.
I get it. Like, I think we all need our space and we all are kind of like sometimes doing our things independently, right?
Mhm.
We all might have a partner who takes up a lot of our time or energy. Um, but okay, whenever they talk about people who recover from illnesses faster, easier, or people who live till they're 100, then one of the things they say is they have a community, right? They
Yes.
have people. And so maybe you're fine having your community and talking to them only once in 6 months. Like, what is that though? Because I feel like for community, like I moved into this new neighborhood and I have this sense where people help me take my kids places and we have dinners once in a while and I see them
Mhm.
at events and things like that. But that will shift when my kids aren't in school. Unless I make the effort to be like, "Oh, hey, let's have dinner," or "Let's go on a trip together," or
Right.
whatever.
I live
But
in a similar community where there's like a herd of boys, neighborhood boys just running in and out of my front door, and I see their mothers, and so I feel like I have this sense of community. I can reach out if I need help. I but, we moved to a place like that because that's what we wanted for
mhm.
us, and we wanted that for our children. So, we made that intentional shift so it could be easier for us to form a community without having to be on the phone all the time, you know?
Yes. So do you okay, for those moms or, just parents or people that you see in your community on a daily basis, do you talk about the shit, like your stuff that's happening for you or like where you're at or like how deep and connected do you get with those people? And do you are you know, what my think my question is how deep of a connection do we need to have to say it's community and to live till we're 100? Like
Well, I guess I'll let you know when I'm 100.
right? Like, this was it, this was not.
There are some people that energetically I'm like, okay, I just, you're a nice person. You look out for my kids. You're a good person, you know, but I just don't feel that like soul connection with. So I'm
Mhm.
comfortable keeping them at arm's length. And that could be my own trauma resurfacing, always being so always energetically putting myself out there, and then usually 85% of the time it's not reciprocated, or it's just flat out shut down, or people just aren't
Mm.
interested. And so I've learned to be more guarded, for better or worse. That's just kind of, but then there's other people that I meet and I'm like telling them everything that I'm about in the first
I
2
when
hours of
when
knowing
w
them.
us?
Yeah, yeah, like
It's
you,
like so,
where
yeah, we know.
where there's just some sort of unspoken, and I can't even put my finger on it. Like, there's this girl who moved down the street. She's a woman, she's not a girl. She's got 3 boys, and she moved down the street. That's actually where my kids are playing right now, and, like, she had an entirely different upbringing. She has entirely different political views, but I fucking love her. Like, she is my person, and we give each other a hard time about our differences, just, out of fun and entertainment. But I just feel a connection with her, and her husband is very similar to my husband. They hunt, they're manly men and grow beards and mustaches and talk about guns and whatever the fuck else they talk about. And I just feel like, and their boys are similar ages. Um, but the person that lives across the street from her, I love her. She's great. But I just kind of sense that it's not there, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
there for
totally.
everybody. And I think in my younger life, everybody I met, I wanted them to be my best friend. And as I get older, I'm like, I don't really need that. I don't need I wanna talk to everybody I meet. I wanna be acquaintances with everybody I meet, but I no longer have this people-pleasing need to have everybody be my best friend, if that makes sense.
It does, to me at least, because I feel the same way. I'm like, "Well, I wanna know everything about you, and so I'll tell you everything about me." But I have found boundaries. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm getting better, but only by a little. Sometimes I'm like, "Oh god, Rebecca."
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, "Megan, have we learned anything? Have we learned anything in the past 7 years? Like,
Yes,
you
it's
don't need
correct.
to word vomit all over your grocery checkout lady because you like her hair or something ridiculous." Like,
Oh gosh, but, I'm sure people need our excitement a little bit in their lives. I'm sure that's needed, but at the same time, boundaries for myself and boundaries for others is probably good.
yeah.
But what's interesting about a few things that you're talking about is that for my human design profile, I'm a 4-6, and 6s are about no, is it the 4 or the 6? 6s, I know for sure, are about when you meet somebody, you do not have to explain why you connect with that person. There might not be any rhyme or reason, but you need to just be with those people. Like,
Mhm.
follow that, and your life will be exponentially better. And for me, it's like they say your success or your happiness comes from your network, the people that are around you, and I'm like, that feels right because I love talking to people. I love being from, you know, being around all the people. And I think most of my things that I've ever done for work or for anything is through my network. It's not
Mhm.
like I've ever like applied for a job and been like, "Oh, this is random." It's usually like I know a friend who anyways, your
Yeah.
human design I think does go into that, and I've been playing with that idea and thought and been like, "Well, who am I like? Oh my god, like I feel that soul connection with you." And there's for whatever reason it is. I think the other thing you touched on was like political beliefs. We do things totally differently. Like, let's say I like to eat clean and this person really likes to drink a lot of soda and do whatever else. They have a totally different lifestyle, but this person to me is just like, I feel that connection in my heart. You know, we can have respect for each other and jab each other a little with love. And I think that that goes into the thing that I've also heard is that we're really bad at knowing who we're going to be friends
Yes.
with.
I'm terrible at that.
Yeah.
And then when, uh, you know you think you're like best friends and you get on Facebook and you go, "Oh, I haven't heard from them in a while." And you go to look at their profile and it says add friend and you're like,
Oh, fuck. I guess we're
okay."
not friends anymore.
Like I mean, that happened to me a month ago. Like I can't even say, "Oh, when I was in my 20s." No, that literally happened a month
Happened.
ago.
But that is the thing about change, and we change as people, and it's like, how do you deal with that? Because it feels like rejection, and it
It
feels like,
it
okay,
feels gross.
well, yeah,
Like
and
like you didn't accept me for who I was, which never feels good, but in the same breath, well, if you didn't, then move along, right? Like I'm also at a time in my life where you either love and accept me and support me or you don't. Either way's fine, but go on about your business. Get on with it if you're not. You know, I don't
mhm.
need haters. I need lovers and supporters and cheerleaders.
But even from her side, like, I don't know what the thing is. It's like, maybe she's drawing boundaries for herself,
Right. It could be
like,
totally non-personal.
it could
And
be. Yeah.
I mean, I have no way of knowing. And
And that's maybe the hard part is you don't know.
yeah, yeah, I think I think this word is tossed around so much that it's kind of hilarious, but I need closure. You know, the you have this natural urge to be like, but why? What
Mhm.
I need answers. Do I want to necessarily know the answer?
No, no,
No, I don't.
I
What if the
don't.
answer is your posts are annoying and your recipes are gross? You know, like I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that. No, I don't. So, you know, there's this like need for closure, but at the same time, I don't feel like I really want it. Like, yeah, I want an answer, but only if it's not
About
only
me.
yeah, only if it's about you and not me. Is that okay?
But I'm like, okay, so let's say she did in a heartfelt way say, like, this is just not for me. What is going on for me? And maybe that could be to a benefit for you. And maybe it would hurt at first.
Right.
Cause sometimes, I mean, we all do shitty things. We all do stuff. Like, I think that's the other piece is like, so I've been in my 6th year, and I guess it's about relationships and a
That
lot of
explains why Friends is coming up for you a lot then.
yeah, a lot. Well, relationships in general, just
Yeah.
like between my husband, between, family, friends, all of it. And me saying to myself, like, how am I interacting as a friend and where am I falling short? Where am I not meeting expectations of my friends or like what are my expectations versus the expectations of my family members or my friends or whoever I'm in a relationship with.
Right.
And
But if your friend doesn't give you the chance,
yeah.
if you never knew what the expectations were
Yes.
and then you're, you know, randomly unfriended, then you feel kind of like cheated, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't even know the rules of the game when I didn't even know we were playing a game and now the game's over and I've lost. Like
Yes.
that's I think another feeling of unresolvedness, or maybe that's where the
No.
need for closure comes from is, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't ever wanna be a shitty person. I definitely don't wanna be a shitty friend, and if I am, call my
Yeah.
ass out."
Yeah.
And if you're never given that opportunity, you know, it's not fair, but at the same time, like, if that's how she feels, then, you know, what am I gonna do about it? Nothing.
Maybe, but
Meditate.
maybe but maybe I think there's a lot of things in here because Levy Jones, who wrote the
I love her.
yeah, she has been talking a lot about on her Instagram, like, expectations, and she's like, "I don't necessarily want a hug from everyone," and that is a boundary, like, I don't like giving even sometimes my family members hugs, but them knowing that, then they can actually then when they cross that line, it's like me letting them know, like, "Hey, I don't do hugs." I'd be like,
Right.
"Oh, good to know, because 'cause I'm a hugger." Like, but when we
My
don't know
best
the
friend Paige, the one from college, she's not a hugger, but every once in a while, like, if I haven't seen her, I'm like,
you're gonna sneak
"Oh, bring it in. You're gonna get a hug." She's like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god." But see, we know these things. So
Mhm.
when I do cross that, it is a boundary that she has set, but I also know how to, and this makes me sound shitty, but I know how to cross that boundary in a safe way, if that makes sense.
Well, knowing that and be like, "Can I just have one hug? I know I'm not gonna hug you like 5 times, but I'll can we just hug once?" And
For
me
30
knowing
seconds.
yeah. For 30 whole seconds.
And I think if we saw each other now, because we haven't seen each other in, like, 5 years, I think she'd want a hug, but,
Mm.
anyway, I don't but
The point is, I
expectation.
think expectations or, like, how am I being in a friendship and how does the other person expect it for the friendship to go? And we probably don't communicate or I know I don't communicate that enough.
Mm-mm, I don't think I ever do.
And so I had listened to this podcast that I can't fucking find anymore, and it pisses me off because I thought it was so interesting. And so she had talked about that there are well, she facilitates friends, women finding friends and building deeper connections. And she talks about, okay, let's say you have one friend that you talk to on a daily basis where it's just like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Like you would talk to your husband maybe or your partner. Um, like I think I talk to my mom probably almost every day or at least every other day.
Mhm,
Um, but a friend. And then there might be, like, 2 or 3 other friends, like, as a tier, like, that you maybe talk to weekly,
mhm,
weekly to twice a week, and that's mostly your makeup, and then everything below that is mostly, like, acquaintances or the people that help you take your kids places, and you have a cordial and nice relationship, but it's not they don't know they don't have an intimacy really with you, right?
right.
And, but that best friend or the 2 or 3 other people, it's like you go into this relationship and she talks about creating more of the expectations and agreeing like almost like a marriage to work together and have open communication and basically yeah, like marriage, like we're going to work this out and maybe those friendships will change this friendship will change in 7 years. Can we say we're gonna be friends forever? I don't really know. Or maybe you're gonna go down and you'll be a acquaintance because I moved across the country or because 'cause I'm in a different phase of life or whatever. Um, I found that fascinating and something that culturally would be cool to start, I think, is
Mhm.
to have that agreement or, "Hey, like, I want you to be in my life and I want you to be this person for me."
You know what I find fascinating is the unspokenness of all of this.
Mhm.
I mean, we met and 2 weeks later started a podcast, but I don't think we've ever once had a conversation about what I expect of you in our friendship. We haven't even finished our podcast contract. Like, our quote unquote legally binding document that outlines who does what and who pays, like, we've never once sat down and had a discussion like that. Dr. Caitlin, I've never known her for 16 years. I've never had that conversation, but it just works. Like, there's just an energetic, unspoken give and take that takes place. And I think that's what fascinates me. Like, what makes some friendships work and what makes others fall apart? And 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 it all seems to happen behind the scenes. Like, it's not that nobody talks about it because they don't want to talk about it. I think oh my god. Do we know what's happening? Like, we don't even really I don't necessarily have an awareness. It just works or it doesn't. And like I don't that's what fascinates, like, how does all of this work when nobody talks about it, you know?
Well, it's like, okay, if we were dating, there is a whole different level, right, of, "Oh, he didn't call me today," and or
Mhm.
whatever, like, they
It
called
took
me
him
and
6 hours to
yes,
respond to my text message.
and then it was like one word and whatever.
Right.
But if for friends, it's a whole different it's almost the same thing minus, like, sex, probably, right? Like,
Maybe,
pro
I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't know. I don't know what
Whatever
kind
you're
of
into, no judgment.
no, not at all, not at all, but I'm just saying, like, what are the difference between a friend
The dynamics are totally different. Like, if I texted you and you didn't text me back until tomorrow, I would be like, "No big deal. I'm sure you were busy." But if
yes,
I was dating you, I'd be like, "What did I do wrong?
yeah.
Did I?"
But what if I didn't text you back for a week?
I'd probably be like, maybe because I'm really bad at reading a text and then forgetting to respond.
Right, okay, so what if I didn't text you back for a month?
Um, I'd be wondering if we still had a podcast.
Right, okay, so maybe the length is different, but it's still,
Right.
like, a general, like, okay
These are like unspoken rules
yes.
that we all seem to follow on some level, but why?
But,
Like,
okay, this is the thing, there are other people, whom me, I've tried to in the recent years tell my friends, like, "If you do not hear from me, if I do not respond to a text message, please know that that is not on you. It's not that I'm mad at you. It's literally just sometimes I don't wanna respond to text, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry because at the same time, like, I gotta do sometimes I have to do things, and I don't want to just drop everything all the time to respond to everyone's text messages.
I
Honestly,
think
that's a boundary.
that's a huge shift in our culture because when we were kids, there were no such things as text messages. And
Mhm.
nowadays, we feel like we always have to be in constant we're always in constant contact. Like,
Yeah.
people are sending emails at 2 o'clock in the morning and, you know, you see somebody like, "Oh, I saw that you liked a post on Facebook today, but you haven't responded from my text message from yesterday." And you're like, "Fuck, I
I didn't
I was."
want to. I'm just
Right,
kidding.
right.
Or I forgot. Truly, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, shit, did I respond to that?" But at the same time, I don't know, the people don't get unlimited access to me, and I
Right.
think I've really been working on that because I for my own sanity and health, like, I just can't.
Some days I literally can't even.
I literally can't even.
Yeah, like I cannot today, you know?
But so how as, friends okay, so a lot of it is unspoken, but what if we did have more of an expectation? Like, because like I said, some friends are like, "I want you to respond immediately, and if you don't respond immediately, then I think something's wrong." Like like we might feel for dating.
Right,
For when someone doesn't respond to me, I'm sort of like, "Well, it's probably doing something." And if I really need someone, I'm like, "Dude, I need to freaking know right now, so please tell me," or whatever.
right.
So what if we changed that? What if would you sign up for this girl? She had a website and I cannot find this website. It's really pissing me off. But what if we truly said, "Hey, I'm committing to you. I want you to be my best friend and we're both committing to this energetically." And maybe that happens naturally over time for a lot of people, right?
Right,
But what if we went into those with different expectations? Or is it along the way we're like, "Hey, this is just not working for me," or this thing that's going on with us, like I need this to maybe shift, or just like you would with a spouse.
right.
And that just naturally happens, like you said. But what if we did have those things, like more like we're dating?
"Hi, nice to meet you. Can you sign this friend contract for me?"
I mean, I don't know when you get into that. I don't know what like date 10 do you get into the contract?
Right,
I don't
right.
know.
I don't know. I don't know either. And, that brings up, what about when things aren't going well? And not to a point where not going well is in, like, it's not fixable and it's time to go separate ways. How what's an honorable way to break up with your friend? Is it Ghosting them on Facebook and unfriending them and hoping that nobody notices?
How good of a friend are
Or
you? Like, were you, like, really good friends or, like,
yeah,
medium?
I mean,
Like, were you in
obvious
the what tier were you in?
right. What what VIP level are you in? And,
Yeah.
obviously, like, that's the first question. How close are you? How big was the fight? Did
Mhm.
she sleep with your husband? Like,
Ooh, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, like, there's definitely every situation is gonna be different, but I guess my question is more of a general what is the honorable way to break up with a friend?
Well, probably similar to dating, well, communication. I think I'm probably a bad breaker-upper.
Oh, I know I am. I never even broke
Like
up with boys, like, I was always the one getting dumped. I was never the one doing the
You're
dumping.
like, "I can't do this, so you should just dump me."
Yeah, yeah. I don't do confrontation, so if you could dump me, this would just be so much easier on all of us.
So avoidance is our tactic.
Avoidance is I think, as unhealthy and trauma-ridden as that is, it's I think I just kind of start slowly taking steps back. And, "Hey, do you wanna go out to lunch?" Not today, and probably not tomorrow."
Mhm.
But, and just kind of phasing myself out of their life. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's a good thing to do, but that's my
Do
signature move.
Yeah. Do you think that what percentage of people that do that? Like, that is how many people I feel like there are people who are like, no, they just fight it out, speak their truth, like, and then, like, if it doesn't work out, if this fight doesn't work out, then they're just like they both know why. But, like, what percentage of people are like that?
I I don't know anybody like that because chances are I would have figured it out and I would have already made my exit plan, cuz I don't want it to be that hard. I don't want it to be that stressful and tense and confrontational. Like, I don't
But what if through
Ooh.
maybe it's not confrontation, though, maybe through a conversation, things got figured out, and then you had a deeper level of a relationship, like, through figuring out your shit, figuring out their shit, meeting in the middle somewhere, maybe not in the middle, I don't really know, or being like, "No, I fucked up. This is on me. How do I make this better?" Like, it through that, a deeper level of intimacy, that's what she called it, like,
Frientimacy.
frientimacy
Did we
I
just
don't
make a new word?
no, she made that up,
Oh,
somebody else
damn
made
it.
that up, but I was, like, just remembering it. Frientimacy develops because of that. Like,
And I'm
what if?
sure that I've cheated myself out of that before. In my signature exit strategy, I'm sure that I have cheated myself out of a deeper, more meaningful relationship with people.
I know I have.
Yeah, I mean, I know I have too. And,
Ugh.
at that point, it's kind of like, "Well, fuck. This is water under the bridge." I don't know, whoops.
Okay, so
Time for therapy, like, fuck.
no, 100%, like, time for therapy, and obviously, this is something because for a long time when I grew up, I was not about confident like, I would avoid at all costs, like you're talking about, like, "Do
Mhm.
not let's I don't we don't need to talk about it, it's fine," because I'm gonna get emotional,
Yep.
100%, like, I will fucking cry, I will feel not enough, and I have worked on those things so much that I feel like I'm getting it was like this 6th year that I've been going through has allowed me to get a tiny bit better, like, at that, being like, "Okay, let me tell you how I'm feeling," because even whenever I tell you how I'm feeling, I also feel like a shithead too, because I don't wanna hurt anyone.
Right. I don't wanna be an asshole, but I don't feel supported, you know?
Yeah, or whatever.
You being you is not enough for me. How do you tell somebody that?
Or
Like
and it maybe it's we try and is it enough or it's making me feel this certain way? Maybe it's you're making me not feel like enough, but really it's so our responsibility. Well, that comes into then What is our responsibility? Because I'm like, okay, if I'm is it our responsibility to have those conversations even if we're gonna cry, even if we're gonna be emotional, even if we might hurt someone's feelings, even though all of those things, our responsibility is to, like, look that in the eye, I guess, and that's what I've learned this year, and I'm trying to still work on. I still have 3 more years to work on this pattern
You
in my
got time.
9-year
You
cycle.
got time.
Oh god. I don't know.
I
So
I don't yeah, I mean, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna say things. I'm not a tactful person at
mhm.
all. It's one of my biggest, I think, character flaws where I'm like, "You were a real shithead.
I don't
Here's
know what else
why.
to say.
Yeah, what do you want from me? You fucked up." You know?
Yeah.
And so when I guess I don't know what I was gonna say. I was going to such a deep level that I only had it for a second and then I lost it.
And
Now
then it
I'm
was
like,
gone.
"Where is it? Where did it go? Come back."
I don't know. I think what I've learned this year, and like I said, I'm trying to get better at, is that it through those conversations that I've had with multiple people this year, it has turned out for the better. Whether we now know each other's expectations more, we told each other what we were hurt by, like things that I didn't think would hurt them, I had done. And I was
Mhm.
like, I just truly didn't know that that hurt you, you
Right.
know? And and that hurting you, like I still don't maybe think I was in the wrong or maybe I was in the wrong, but now I know. But thank you for telling me. And but I still think there are things that maybe you shouldn't look to me for those things. Like, maybe don't you shouldn't expect those things from me because I don't think I will provide those for you.
Right. And is it okay to still be friends with people that can't meet certain needs? Or do we cut and run? Another one of my signature moves.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's for each individual, and I think it's like oh, well, this is another thing that I've heard and thought about a lot is you are the sum of all the people that you hang out with. So, like,
Mhm.
if you were to rate someone, which I wouldn't, like, highly recommend, but, like, let's say this is just something I've heard, okay? I'm just passing it along. Let's say you're like, "Okay, Shelly is an 8. She is, like, personal growth. She's like, she does all these things like me. She's always pushing me. She's supporting me. She's doing all these things, and they're smart," or, like, whatever it is the top criteria. They're kind, they're funny, those things that you want in your life and who you strive to be.
Mhm.
Um, but then there might be a 5 or a 2 where you're like, don't feel like that's where I wanna be an 8. I wanna be funny and kind and I wanna be in adventure, and, like, who do you wanna be and who do you surround yourself with dictates who you become.
Right.
And I truly believe that because we are a product of our environment.
Yeah, I mean, you hear all the time, "Oh, he fell in with the wrong crowd and now he's
Mhm.
fill in the blank," so it's absolutely who you surround yourself with, for sure.
And if you're hanging out with all 5s and you're like and maybe you're an 8, but they're pulling you down
Right.
and they're not so if you're not growing, you're dying. I've also
Mhm.
heard that saying, right?
Right.
Like, so if you're not around people who are pushing you, who are striving for something similar, supporting you, like, I don't know.
What are you even doing?
What are we even doing here? Yeah.
And you wanna I think I kind of struggle with, yeah, this person is a 5 and I wanna be a 9, but what if I can show that person how to be a 9? what if I can bring that 5 to a 6? And I almost make it like a, "Oh, I can fix him.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude,
I can change
this is
him."
this is like partnership issue." Like, they talk about your all the women trying to fix all the men.
Right. I saw the funniest side note, I saw the funniest, I don't know if it was a tweet or somebody, my friend Sarah shared it on her Instagram, but it was like, "Oh, I can change him," and then the next line was, "Girl, did he shit his pants?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I love it." I love that.
But, okay, so what if someone has to up their game and be more responsible for themselves and, like, get their shit figured out so that they can hang out with 8s,
Right.
9s, 10s?
I
Like,
think but then there's another question. Do they have an awareness that they are a 5, and they have an awareness that they want to be better than that? A lot of people are like, "Nope, I'm perfectly happy where I'm at, and I don't even know where I'm at, but whatever this is fine with me."
well, I think that's a part of the growing and dying thing,
Yeah.
like, I wanna be around personally people who are like I love new ideas. I love just like, oh my God, that sparked me. Like, you have an interesting thing. You want to go on an adventure. You want to support each other. You want to like those people. Like, I'm like, I want to fucking be you. And
Mhm.
maybe for other people, you're like, no, I'm good around the people. They make me laugh. They're kind. They're whatever. Eh, I think you're still an 8 if those are the things that you're doing. But like, we all have our own scale of what that would be.
Right.
So I
Right.
guess re re-say the question. Oh, what if someone said, "Oh, I think that" okay, I know that I have wanted to hang out with 8s and 9s and 10s, and I was not ready to hang out with I was not emotionally, um, energetically I don't know what all the words are, but I don't think I definitely was in victim mode
Mhm.
and not in an empowered mode. I was not I don't wanna say good enough, I wasn't ready
Yeah. Yeah, don't say good enough.
because that's not yeah, but I wasn't ready and I hadn't gone through enough of my own shit and done enough of my own personal growth to even be, like, on that level.
Mhm.
I had a lot of shit of my own to figure out, and
Yeah.
I still do. So, I don't know. No, I do know. I do know. I'm tired of saying I don't know because I do know. I know that for you to be able to hang out with those people, I do think you have to have a commitment to being responsible for your own shit, and you
Mhm.
have to have a commitment to your own personal growth and be able to, like, be introspective and be like, "Oh, yeah, I fucked up." And for a long time, I was not able to do that.
Yeah, me neither. I think just recently I've been able to say, "Yeah, that was pretty shitty. That was
Yeah.
pretty shitty, Megan."
Yeah, because before, I think if I would've been like, "Oh, that was really shitty," I it's almost like I would have collapsed. I didn't have enough self-worth or
Yeah. I
yeah.
wasn't okay with being not okay. I wasn't okay with it being my fault. It was so much
Yeah.
easier that it was, "Well, you were a bitch and that's why I responded."
Mhm.
That's that's not taking ownership. That's giving your power away. There's power in saying, "I fucked up. I'm sorry. What can I do to make it better? Can we move forward? If not, I understand. I'll be sad. But if we can, what are the steps I can take so we can move forward?" And I don't think I
Or
was
even
ready.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was ready to even acknowledge that I had flaws, you know?
'Cause I'm perfect, darling.
'Cause I'm a type A, and I'm a recovering type A, and I'm a recovering perfectionist, and admitting that I had done something wrong made me not a perfectionist. That means I didn't do something perfectly, and I wasn't okay
Mhm.
with that.
Oh, girl, that's deep.
I know. I'm getting sweaty over here now.
But truly, or it's like I felt like it would be like, "I'm not enough."
Yeah, I'm a failure.
Yeah, I failed, and now I can never redeem myself, which is the such bullshit to tell myself. Like,
Right.
I cannot come back like, I failed one time, and now I am the worst. Like, I think that's truly how I would feel.
Yeah. Like, I'm not worthy of your friendship because I
Yeah,
fucked up once.
yeah,
Because I'm human and I'm gonna fuck up more than once. But
yeah.
this time, nope, not this time. Not today.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I guess it is important who we surround ourselves with, and w how do we get ourselves then to be around the people that we aspire to be or that we're like, "Oh, they're living a life that I am so intrigued by and interested in, and I wanna be a part of that."
Yeah.
We
I
gotta
hope I
kinda step it up.
manifest people I hope I manifest people like that. And I think that being said, I think sometimes friends have to move out of our lives to make room for those friends that we want, or we don't even know we want yet because they haven't come into our life. But sometimes friends need to unfriend you
Yeah,
so you can make room for new friends that vibe higher, that serve your highest good, that really truly facilitate your growth and don't bring you back down to a 5. They get you to a 9 and a 10.
yeah. Well, we only have so much energy and time,
Mhm.
and what are we gonna choose to do with that time?
Right. Do we wanna stay in lower level
Vibrations, whatever it is.
relationships? Yeah.
Or I think that there are seasons for friends, like we had
Mhm.
talked about, and you learn things, you experience things with certain friends, and then maybe there is an ending. Or you catch back up,
Yeah.
right? Like I said, like if your roommate moved in next door, it might now shift relationships. Maybe now you're seeing her every day, you're talking every day.
Mhm.
But yes, I do think that there can only be so much time and energy. And
Yeah.
that pyramid of like, okay, well, what if you don't have someone in that top spot that you talk to every day? Do you just like sit with it, wait for it? Do you go and look for it? How do we Okay, this is another thing I want to talk about because in recent years, I've been like more courageous in my friend getting. Or just my friend learning about people. And if someone inspires me, like, for example, every time I tell people this, they're like, "Oh my god, you're so hilarious, Rebecca." But
Oh, I can't
there was
wait.
this girl no, I think but, like, there's this girl at Vitamin Cottage, she worked there, and I would see her I go there all the time or at Natural Grocers because of all my allergies and all the things, and I would see her a lot, and she would be like we'd have side conversations or whatever, and then one day I think I was like, "Do you want a tarot reading?" Like, basically, like, "Do you wanna be my friend?" Like, "Do you wanna be friends?" And she's like, "Yeah." So and it was like,
I
yeah,
love that.
I'm just finding my friends at the grocery store, which
That's a totally me move, by the way.
yeah, like, okay, so but do people do that a lot?
Are we weird? I don't
Are we
know.
weird?
Y'all let us know. Are we is this a Reba and Megan thing or
So are we gonna be friends now? Like, she just came over the other day and we had coffee or whatever, like, she moved away and then she came back and whatever, but I feel like there are a few other people who I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so inspired by you," or I reached out to them on social media and was like, "Hey, can we have, like, a cup of coffee? You, like, seem really cool and, like, inspiring. Can we just I don't know, can we have a date, please?"
there was a mom, there are a couple moms at my oldest's karate class, and she was like, "Hey, can I get your number? Do you think the boys would like to play?" And I flat out was like, "I don't care, but I wanna play."
She She's like,
I was like, "I want mom friends, so yeah, here's my number." And she just thought that she laughed, and I was like, "Okay, well, that went well," because I didn't sometimes I say things, I'm like, "Did that sound desperate? I didn't want that to sound like I just, like, please be friends with me or I'll go home and cry for hours." But it was very much, "Oh, do you think the boys will play together? I don't know, but
"We
do you wanna
can."
hang out?"
Yeah. Who cares about them?
I pretty much was like, they're boys, they're the same age, I'm sure they can bond over Nerf guns, but, like, do you wanna hang out?
Right.
And
So
it
I
worked.
think that
I mean,
yeah, yes. And maybe you'll hang out one time and be like, "Oh, that was a good, like, time and I had a good, conversation, but maybe I won't further this friendship or whatever." I have heard that it takes 8 times of being together or doing something together to, like, solidify a friendship.
that
So you do
makes
have to
sense.
put energy into it, and you have to put, like, time. You
Right.
don't hand that contract over on the first date.
Sign here. I'm a notary.
We're gonna notarize this. It's official.
So, what do we do when things don't work out? How do we I mean, do we mourn the loss of a friendship any different than we mourn the loss of a loved one? Or the loss of are we are we mourning the loss of a future we thought we could have together? Or are we mourning I don't know. I don't know. Are we mourning the loss that, man, maybe I fucked up and she unfriended me and I don't know, and that not knowing makes me upset, right?
Well, it's a rejection. It feel
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
that feels like rejection, and then that is a whole nother deal. But how do we end? Probably the honorable way is to have a conversation.
You mean it's not the Irish goodbye?
No, it is not an Irish goodbye.
Damn it.
But maybe in some cases that is, and for your own boundary's sake. Like, sometimes maybe for her own boundaries, she needed to be like, "No, this is not right for me," and maybe you guys she'll take a break, and then she'll reach back out to you like, "I needed a break. I needed to reevaluate. I needed to, like, clear my thoughts out and all of the baggage that might be with it," because there are so many things that it's like, I'm talking about myself. When things come up, I'll be like, "No, she didn't mean it," or "No, this is fine." Right? Like, "This is fine," kinda thing, like,
I'm
"Oh,
fine.
we've talked
Everything's
about it.
fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine." And not bringing it up in the moment, that is one of my things that I'm totally working on, is in the moment being like, "How can I articulate this?" Basically, I'm talking to myself. "How can I articulate this by telling them my feelings, what's not working for me, and having a conversation about it without attacking someone?" And, maybe you have that conversation, maybe you don't. Right? Like, you get to decide. I don't know where my thought process was going with that, but if
Have you
you're
ever read
end
the Four Agreements?
I think a long time ago.
And I don't know why this popped into my brain, and I it won't leave me alone, so I feel like I have to say it, but I don't know where it's going to end, so let's just put it out there.
Okay.
One of the 4 agreements is take nothing personally. Even if
Mm,
somebody walks up to you and shoots you in the face, take nothing personally. That's so hard,
that is hard.
and that's my profound thought. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Well, okay, one of the things that my husband at his job, they were doing, like, a training, and it was about we are not taught how to receive criticism.
Mm-mm.
And that or feedback in general. Like, it's usually with a defense and like, "Ugh, no, I could never have done that, and I'm not enough," right? Like, instead of us being like, "Oh, introspective about it," and like, "Okay, however this feedback was given, maybe they yelled it at you, maybe they gently said it to you or articulated it." What I think I but what I'm getting at is how do we receive and then what we get to choose what we do with that feedback. So if we take it personally, like I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, instead of being like, huh, could that be a truth statement? Do I find myself doing those things? And then how can I adjust so that I'm better for it? So maybe your friend, instead of unfriending you, could have said, I don't really like hearing about all your political beliefs or about any of your beliefs or what you believe on food. Like I don't really know what it is, but um it's very triggering to me and I'm having a hard time talking about it because I'm talking about it with all my family. Like whatever her reasoning was,
Right.
maybe you would have had a little bit more compassion for her because right now as an avoidance, you just feel rejected. But how you get to decide how you take that. Like that's on you.
Mhm.
You can either say, "Oh, it's about me," but maybe it's about her.
Yeah,
Like you
and I
really don't
think
know.
old Megan would have been like, "Oh my god, Megan, what the fuck did you say? What did you post? Are you super annoying?" I would have overthought everything. But I didn't. I was very much like, "Hmm, well, I I wish her the best of luck. I send her nothing but love and good intentions, and I hope everything works out for her, and I don't know what happened. I don't need to know what happened. I don't really want to know what happened because what if it is me?"
Well, that's the other part is like maybe though, you knowing would help you grow in a different way and make you better for the next friend.
Yeah.
And we the other piece is that we're not for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that was my next thought was, well, why do I have to change myself to keep one person in my life? Maybe it was me, but maybe it was something about me that I love.
Yeah, maybe.
And it would hurt me to hear that the thing that I love most about myself, somebody finds totally repulsive. I'm not going to I'm not going to set myself on fire to keep someone else warm. I'm just not. And I don't know if I'm being stubborn or I don't know, but I think, when it happened, I didn't really overanalyze it. It was more of a, okay, well, love and light, girlfriend. I'll be
Well,
here.
and maybe if that person felt, and I don't know if they did or not, like a soul connection, I think that that may have hurt more, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did maybe she wasn't a soul connection and it was a little bit easier to be like, okay, I can let that one go because it's
Yeah.
not as a deep, that deep, like, okay, I wish you would have come to me because I feel this deep connection to you. And I thought we had a more of a respect and reciproc, I don't know the word.
Reciprocal.
Recipro re I'll just stop trying to say it. Yes, that kind of relationship. I don't know, now I got caught on that word. I had too much coffee.
I haven't had enough. Well, I mean, we're coming up on an hour.
Yes,
Wait, go
I
for it.
feel
If
like
you
there's
have some.
still more because with that, if she was, let's say, an 8 or a 10 or whatever, someone who you inspired you and helped you grow and you felt this soul connection, maybe you would reach out and be like, "Hey, why'd you unfriend me? Like, is there something that I can we talk through this?"
I think in this particular instance, I felt like it was always a struggle. I
Mm,
was always trying to force a square peg into a round hole. And so when I found that I was unfriended, it was more of like a, okay, well now it I don't want to say relief because I don't really feel like I felt relief, but it was more of a validation
a
that I had,
confirmation that yeah,
yeah, like I had been trying too hard. And
to
for what?
force the friendship.
Yeah, and for what? What was I trying to save? What was I trying to cultivate? When clearly for years the energy wasn't reciprocating, reciprocal.
Reciprocrop pop
Reciprocity?
reciprocity.
Is that the
Yes.
yes, is that the
Yes.
word?
We got it. Don't
Yes,
worry. We're there.
awesome.
Yes.
We're so
So
smart.
yeah, but I think that goes into evaluating your friendships and like, okay, well, we're all not perfect.
Right.
I think that is one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that regardless of all the things, who are we just most willing to put our energy into and who is going to help us grow? Who or whatever it is you want from a friendship, are you getting that out of a friendship and working together in that way? If like you said, it was a square peg into a round hole. Like if it had always been that way, like why? For what? It's not all friendships are going to be easeful, but I think that there are some friendships that are more like that
Yeah,
than others.
yeah. And I think that was, like you said, validation to just let this one go. And I think that's probably why I wasn't so offended by it. I was just ready. I was subconsciously ready and the universe was ready to let that one go because
Yeah.
it ended up freeing up more space for new friends.
Yeah.
And I could devote the energy that I spent on her to people who wanted to reciprocate, you know?
Yeah. And I think that goes into it is like finding people who want to reciprocate and want to be in a relationship truly.
Yeah,
And gosh, here's to showing up in your friendships, figuring out your friendships. I
right.
don't know. It's a constant work for all of our lives. I mean, I watched my teenage girls, I saw my young kids, or, when they were younger. I see that my mom and her, however old you get, friends are a deal. So, probably the better we get at it, the better our lives will be.
Let's hope so. Here's
I
to that.
mean, here's to living to 100. Hopefully.
Yeah, right? Hopefully, we still have this podcast when we're 100.
But
I don't
what?
know who's gonna listen, but fuck it.
I think more old people should have podcasts. We need more of that energy in our or at least in my life, I need more old people wisdom and energy and vibe.
My mom has asked me, like, 4 times, "How do I find your podcast?" I'm like, "Mom, what's the name of your podcast again? What's a podcast? Don't worry about it, mom. I know you love me, I know you support me. Don't worry about it, it's fine."
Oh, man, moms.
Moms.
There are plenty of of older people than us. I'm just you're not necessarily old because I'm like, "Whew, I'm feeling old lately." Actually, one of my I think we should talk about getting old in our podcast, but,
Stay
you know.
tuned.
Stay tuned. There are plenty of people who can get on podcasts, it's just feeling comfortable with
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, which I'm not, but somehow I figured out figured out how to make this work. I can't figure out my phone, but I can do this, whatever.
I mean,
I'm a very
one step at a
complicated
time.
person.
Oh gosh, guys, I hope you guys got something out of this, friendship thing. We just have been wanting to talk about it, and we don't have all the answers, and I don't know if we had any answers, actually.
I think we probably had more questions than answers, but we would love to hear your experiences, things that worked for you, things that absolutely did not work for you. And of course, we always want to hear content ideas, things you'd like for us to talk about. Oh, do we want to tell? So at the end of this month, February, was it the
26th,
26th?
I think.
26th, I will be in the Denver area. And we have a lot of listeners in the Denver area. So we're just kind of float the idea out there of doing like a
Little
fun
brunch.
brunchy meet and greet if you guys can. I know it's kind of short notice. But if you're interested in that, if you think you can make it, um, message us, post a comment in our Facebook group. Because we're not gonna put Reba's address out there to just everybody. So
Sorry, guys.
but let us know if that's something that you'd wanna be a part of. Yeah, I come to Denver as much as I can, so if you miss out on this one, don't worry, I will definitely be back. So,
Actually, you should drop all of your plans and come to this brunch, so
yes, cancel family things, fuck it all, come drink a
come
mimosa
see it.
with me. Priorities.
Yeah, exactly. Find
So
your
let
friends
us
here with
know.
us.
Yeah, so let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. If we have enough feedback, we'll do it. If not, then Reba and I will just drink champagne together.
Yes. Actually, yes. We'll be drinking alone.
Fine with that. It's fine. All right. Well, we love you guys. Thanks for listening as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.